image and video of God. The act of sculpting the light blade to form God will give us information to create a model of it'll be pretty close, you know, especially within the re-referencing of describe what features your sculpting. That'll really do it. Purchase live views of live angles of the compiling process, etc. Particles throughout time to the source.
Apollo earned us the right to consume because we defend Earth. Immortalizing existence by traveling the universe in moments and returning percent to any thought and anywhere thought throughout time. Intricate exploration of the universe with externalized minds housed in structures composed of only light, focused with lenses made of heat instead of plastic, glass, or water. Using lucid dreams as a monitor when waking in the morning, then falling back asleep, with augmented reality apps allowing sleep movements and sound to control training dream sequences and 24/7 individual production of innovations. So, like, when you're asleep, with lucid dreams being used as a monitor, you can be plugged into any kind of system. Because your sleep movements can be monitored by AR and manipulate whatever you're being told to visualize in your sleep. So, like, move your hand a little bit, and it affects it, and it activates things, for example, while you're sleeping, and visualizing what you told you to dream. Achieving. Alien intelligence doesn't exist because they would be here. If younger, we would be flooded because of ease of use of quantum race experiment, travel the universe in moments. If older, they would be here and have nothing to fear because we've only solved war for ourselves. So they'd have no enemies anymore. There's no species that is kept 100% secret. There are always leads and resources to everything. vast of a leap. Ancient flight mainframe made of Wiseman Sandman are Cubine's creative computing, immortalizing existence. Our autism features intricate variations and unconscious expressions that allow supercomputer cores to map our experiences. Time travel existing, proven into the future on rockets, and proven into the past with quantum racer experiment focused on starlight, proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower you need to gain omnipotence. Because you're instantly able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with unlimited time by sending things and your mind into the future and anywhere throughout time. So you're able to collect all the resources you need to build yourself into omnipotence, like the technology. So that's the first technology you need, and then that instantly allows you to build everything else that you need to do. Super powerful space engines composed of only nuke explosions housing and channeling the forces. Space elevators can be made with volcanoes using lightning to magnetize aerodynamically filtered soot. 2,000 times $500 equals $1 million. Million a day earned. Export barrel to $500. 2,000 poverty daily. That's unable to afford cremation.
Servicemen's Antarctica possession can start exporting 2,000 impoverished devastating deaths cheaper than cremation. Once started, Servicemen's Antarctic organs free imperial export. Otherwise existence. Antarctica translation got multiplied twice production organization. Operations are the world, audience organs, internalizing intelligence, or salvage. Basic defense strategies are followed. Design and boost transport rights since interpretations protected us from prosecution for opponents and rules ages of convenient frozen states. The body should have numerous collections of love flow mechanisms in place to function and sustain limits dictated and sustained state interest. It is completely operated toward decades regulations. Optimizing organization processes of components and systems creativity and development of resurrection and vegetation senses extreme, altering states of consciousness, and other enhancement functions now thought to be enhanced to be the foundations for more structures that calculate our bodies and years, and exercises using sensory deprivation and expanded systems of everything its various dies, unconscious extrinsic necessary. Voice capture still, or Mars Mercury, join on highlights to the safety of the order. solutions to the energy conservation and production. There's distributor. Transmission time shortcuts. Streamline. Selectors and selectors. Transmissions. Features intricate variations in unconscious expressions with supercomputer cores mapping our experiences. Mechanisms of light build bending light through any heat and gravity, focusing composition to create more heat and more gravity. Mechanisms of light can be experienced within made of matter, causing pressures showing in air while creating external light lines, traveling inverse movements, and returning force into any non-throughout time with the possibilities for experiment.
2,000 times $500 equals $1 million. Expert barrel of $500. 2,000 populated steps. 2,000 times $500 equals $1 million. Million a day earned. Expert barrel $500. 2,000 average daily US deaths in the creation. 2,000 times $500 equals $1 million. Million a day earned. Expert barrel to $500. 2,000 average daily US deaths needed to afford cremation.
USA Servicemen's Antarctica procession can start exporting the 2,000 impoverished US standing deaths cheaper than cremation. Once started, Servicemen's Antarctic organs free burial export. $2,000 times $500 equals $1 million. Export barrel to Antarctica. 2,000
How to swim in like 30 minutes if you're an adult, to like 3 hours if you're a baby. Okay, first thing you do is get goggles, and then you go underwater and blow out air through your nose and keep your mouth closed. Then you teach them how to move their arms in a windmill and how to keep their legs loose, have them relax and float on their backs. And then you teach them then you tell them to move their arms and they're swimming, and they get really motivated by that. And then then you're able to flip them over on their stomachs and teach them to float on their stomachs, and then to breathe, what they do is move their arms with the dog paddle, teach them the dog paddle, and kicking their feet. That's when they can breathe, and then they float, the rest of the time. And if they struggle, have to flip on their back, teach them how to flip on their backs and float. And so it literally only takes like 30 minutes to teach an adult this, and it can take less than 3 hours to teach a baby how to do it. And that's it, So what you do is you get comfortable with the water, you teach them how to kick their legs and move their arms. You teach them backstroke first, which the key is just float on your back and then just move, the feet and arms. And then you teach them to float on their stomachs. And then if they struggle, they float on, so you teach them how to turn over to their backs. That's it.
Simply go on stage and laugh while making sketches and make music. It is a good idea to be able to expand into comedy venues. We've been preparing animals a long time. So how does Google not know where consciousness is in the brain? I bet the original drugs were, like pre-human drugs, supposed to eat animal brains parts. Brain parts. We had it down, to like science. Like that part of the brain will get you hammered, man. Wait, don't go near that part, That'll put you in hell, man. Like straight up eating serotonin and surplus of animal brains and depressants. It probably became a super science. Like for alcohol, Autism encroaches on what we call smart, keeping creativity away. So like we got like autistic features and stuff, and like everybody's autistic somewhat, and that encroaches on smartness, because like the more you can remember things, the less, the higher ability to like calculate things, the less creativity you have. So, and then creativity is like the most important thing. So for being able to be an innovator and stuff like that, you know. So autism encroaches on what we call smart. But then, you know, I'm not saying that like if you're autistic, it doesn't mean you're gonna be like a full-blown autistic person. That's different than what I'm talking about. Like they have like super creativity because they're just totally going to the other side of that, you know. So I'm certain that like Von Braun, when he was creating NASA and stuff like that, is what he was naming NASA. He actually said Nazi. Like they asked him what he wanted to name it, and he was like, "Let's name it Nazi." And then people are like, "What? You want to name it what?" And he's like, "Oh wait, no. I said NASA," and they're like, "No. He said NASA." You know, with the A, not an I. You just can't understand him with his accent. But you know, when they asked him what he wanted to name it, he said NASA with that. He said Nazi with that German accent, and it sounded exactly what our current name is of it. So I think that's kind of interesting. And he's a super smart guy. There's no way you didn't see the connection to it. Everybody there saw the connection to it. No one starts with national when you start naming stuff. You start with U.S. anyway. It starts with national. That's insane. I guess there's a few that start with national, but in general, they're too smart to not see the connection. So, you know, you're being a poser pansy. I'm just thinking what that words. Nazis, more like fagsies, making all the dudes not have clothes and shit. All money is Trump's. Then completely, people are like, all the money is because of Trump, and then they're like completely disobeying, you know? Kind of like a little kid getting a lot of money from his dad, and then says, blah, 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 you know? Then a few minutes later, into like infinite ice cream, tree fort, like they're not doing so good, you know? Recently, I was experimenting with magnetic fields as like a radio frequency shielding, and like I put it up to my ears, and like I was worried about it being like about the magnets firing like a brain implant, like shrapnel lobotomy. But it didn't really happen. All that happened was like there was like this digital sound. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I was just reading the things or something. But it definitely will like manipulate the iron in your blood and stuff when you deal with really heavy magnetic fields and stuff on your brain and ears. Oh yeah, it's a good idea to eat gold. They have edible gold leaf, and it could replenish the 0.2 grams of gold that we have in our bodies, you know, which I assume that is probably for like the firing synapses and stuff like that. And like it's you know, it's only $16 for 24 karat gold for American gold. $16 for American 24 karat gold to gold leaf to replenish it. I think you should get American, you know, because it's not really an FDA thing too much. They're just like, yeah, you can eat it if you want. You know, the Food and Drug Administration didn't really go into their factories and stuff. You know. Yeah, so the differences in northern and southern accents are kind of interesting. So like in the north, it's like a chatter north, and that's like a think speak. You know, like they think, then they speak. And the south is like an overheated south. You know, like think, speak. So like in the north you have like freezing cold, and it makes you chatter, like your teeth chatter, and like, you know, you're shivering, and like you speak faster, you know, get the words out of there so you go get the heat, you know. And so like the pattern of speaking in the south is you're overheated, you know, and there's like a thinking, you know, like think, speak. That's the South accent. So that like the difference is like the people are thinking the same amount, but in the South they speak slower. It doesn't mean that they're not thinking the exact same as the North. They just think slower and put more emphasis in their words. And it's a big deal. Like you say something bad in the South, it's like, uh-oh, you know. But in the North, you say something bad, they let it go because you're saying so many words, you know. You know, they have thicker skins, I guess, in the North, you know. Like, for the words and stuff. In the South, it's like, oh, man. So, yeah. Fascinating. So, we're immortal, like, well, you know, a lot of servicemen and stuff, they're immortal, you know, and the people they choose for their training, stuff like that, like, varying levels of immortality. Which is bad, you know, like that's with consciousness externalization because, you know, it's located for, well, I'll talk about that later, maybe. Well, I've talked about another work before. Anyway, this is bad because who cares, you know, like we're just sitting here crying out of the womb and we are like, what the hell? All you guys are like standing, you know, around and you're beating me up, you know, slamming a fist in my back, fracturing my spine. Let me stand up. And no one else is on the back, you know, and they're like, well, what about her, man? Wait, you guys are taking advantage of how you kept me awake for an eternity because, you know, first perception is eternal. Like the endless days that occur with like the elementary summers. Most women don't know that the oil portraits many have been taught that they got to get and commission at least one time must include an innovation that involves their image in order for it to be considered artwork and not a valueless arts and craft. To create the innovation, just add a bunch of innovations together and make it good, you know, like ketchup and mayo, not ketchup and jelly. And not just two innovations, you gotta add several together. To paint a portrait, it's easy, you just create it and maybe use a projector and know that each tracing is off in our micrometer perception of faces. So that the first tracing has to be on the dime before Tom mix and cement. You could also ask a printer to print a picture on canvas and then paint that. Oil portraits are essential because they are archival, unlike photos, which must have an innovation additionally added to it. So, you know, I mean, they must have an innovation additionally added to them, to the oil portrait, so that it pays to save them. Joe Rogan is a Navy shill. And hamburgers, man, they're fish sandwiches. You know, like, they're just straight up fish sandwiches straight out the toilet, man. That's all the thing burger is. French guy said he hates Americans, so you're more simplistic. Burgers inside and roast was mimics the effects of supervisors. Getting caught up in push on your mama's grandpa's roots. Who's so hung up on getting at it different. Did they do that to everybody knows I'm the only one heroin and scenery. They don't necessarily want the heroin called heroin, and the scenery doesn't have to only be seeing it. You know, it can also be what we look like. But that's not important, you know. It's scenery. So women, all they want is they want heroin and they want scenery. You know, that's the whole thing. I think it's humorous. It's not about what we look like. They might want to call something different, but that's what they're all going for. Anyway, I think that like maybe some jokes like this might be good, but then like for the most part, just like go up on stage and like sketching and then music, and I'll just basically laugh all the time. But like I should probably try to fake laughing. Oh man, I really don't feel like laughing. Good idea. It's pretty bad. I don't know. I'm not gonna do that right now. It's still a pretty good idea. Just sit there and laugh. Oh no. I'm supposed to also add like some of my like science ideas to the prequels to these shows. Tell people about like moralization stuff, like how to live forever and what the meaning of life is and things like that. Because I want to use the stage as like a just a new venue, you know, and you got to meet the rules, so you got you got to do stuff like that, you know, and oh, okay, I got another one I was kind of limiting myself on, but I'll go ahead and I'll tell it, you know, I'll just make it more G-rated. I did say like one bad word during this thing, but you know. So women's levels, you know, like their upper deckers, you know, are inspired by coconuts. Like literally, like pre-human level, it's inspired by coconuts. You know, like and like we're basically like there's this theory that like we're hairless because we were like a water creature. You know, like we didn't have much hair because we were in the water the whole time, and so that infuses us, you know, like that means coconuts are even more so like a thing, you know, and so because it's like an aquatic species, you know, and so we're like eating all these like coconuts and stuff, you know, and like that was like the most popular thing. If you don't have any like thing around, you know, like you don't have modern stuff, you know, like we didn't even have like milk or anything, you know, like all we had were like coconuts, you know, so like it makes sense that like, I mean, it's a really intense flavor. It's got a lot of sugar in them, you know, and then like berries also, like because, you know, like it's probably sour at first, you know, like it's in there curdling and stuff, you know, the upper deckers. And like, you know, so that's sour, so that's like berries, you know, they even it's kind of like a berry, you know, it's kind of like a berry. So, you know, that's pretty much what that is. And so that's kind of humorous. I don't know. It's a pretty good and I think that's a good way to describe it, you know, like say upper deckers, you know, instead of profanity, which is, you know, yeah, that's weird. Yield, keep right. When I was driving down the street and I saw that sign, and I was like, I always am, or I wouldn't be here right now.
Racer Experiment Build Zone of U.S. Intelligence Collaboration at Fusion will all can actually defend Earth with SMS. Using the Quantum Eraser Experiment sculpting with the focusing of starlight waves to particles throughout time to the source, allowing us to travel the universe in moments, then clear light in the return path to arrive before sent to any thought and anywhere thought throughout time. Rewrites built can earn clearance if your U.S. intelligence supercomputer approves. Location of the eye and dilation of the eye in the stream of outer space light particles records our surroundings and also reflections and translucence in and behind the eye. Gradients of the lens affects the stream of particles, lens, and that lenses arch depending on the gradient. Using heat to widen the lens increases the number of streams of light waves forming particles. Light being absorbed by our eyes, reflections and translucence behind also absorbs thoughts in our minds like a mist, which can be reinforced by traveling to the mind throughout time with the mechanisms of light checking the reproduction of the mind. A washroom window fractal flying lens surface of trillions of lenses and collections of people forming a similar thought and lens structures built like Indian mounds add power to the rewriting of time. The Quantum Eraser Experiment's focus on rewriting starlight waves to particles allows us to sculpt starlight into mechanisms at the edge of our universe horizon, and that allows us to use mechanisms we sculpt at the next horizon and further in moments. Simple mechanisms that catapults us 18 billion light years to the next horizon, which is the dense origin of the universe. Then you can either off switch, then awaken 18 billion years later, or you can rearrange light particles in the return path of that horizon. The catapult launches you like to the past, then to the present, then to the past, then to here is the first steps there. To start sculpting starlight, find Earth's one window of clear sky. Then once out of the Milky Way, we hit wide open space at the edge of the galaxy clump using the galaxy light to sculpt with, not single stars. A sphere needs to be located or created, then shields built to the next sphere. We are working in the blind, so we won't know where the second sphere is. Scan until it can bounce off existing galaxies and stars as lens sphere, or in the next horizon, light can also be used to form a lens/sphere made of light. It is like we're a computer projector hitting our universe horizon observer sphere at different angles, then adding shields to hit the next till it sends back. Return is observed with where it was light wave, it is now particle code. Several streams coding a several stream sent to a sphere at the edge of a non-shielded, when it hit, comes from fan shield that speeds up the stream to the present. Then the coded stream is no longer coded and remains streamlined. Then a fan then hits our edge, and the fan shields that stream.
Trinity, what I understand is how to switch to direct. All you do is not smoke your last cigarette there, cigarette, to see about withdrawal symptoms, which don't exist most of the time. So, all you do is wait to the 4 to 6 hours, and that's it. That's your really uncomfortable for the next 2 to 3 days. And then there's no nothing. I don't know what people are talking about. From what I understand, that's all there is that 4 to 6 hours, and then it lessens over 3 days to nothing.
Consciousness is housed in 4 areas of the brain and can be externalized with cell phone electrodes on the forehead and just above the spine. Infomorphs can also be used to where a mainframe leads and guides our choices and actions so heavily all that is lost when we pass is a bit of extra light added to our consciousness. If you get a chance, on the website, you might enjoy using lucid dreams as a monitor, which is the foundation of offering consciousness the malleability necessary to externalize it into a cell phone. You can lucid dream on your own without my work by falling back to sleep when you wake and move your hands only in your mind. Then, when you decide you want to fly, you can, for example. Problem is, the more lush the dream starts, the less control you have. Is there a dream you might like to control more intricately? I can build augmented reality controls, your sleeping movements, and sounds used. A lot of interest seems to be in how the existence of time travel proves the existence of God. Because that is the first thing to perfect to build omnipotence, which would then require preserving the timeline leading to that omnipotence, creation, which is why evil still exists. Painting on food live into an escape room with the 360 YouTube videos being keys to be able to escape and unlock codes for the escape room. 3D WebGL/AR. 6 levels play at the same time, activating lucid dreams as monitor. The 360 YouTube videos have all the frames viewed at once for this choose your own adventure. The work also translates marks to music, and I might add the ability for dogs to speak as part of a level. Interactive translation guide multiplying diversified production of good immortalization. Ancient flight mainframe, made of wise men, Sandman, our sheer minds, creative computing, immortalizing existence. Founding fathers, World Trade Center, site Russia, calling origination Turkmenistan. Many
satellites, extreme tech gaps over us during all investigations. So it really, Ancient 5 mainframe composed not of aliens, because aliens are disproven by the quantum research experiment. Like intelligent life beyond our own is disproven by the powerfulness of quantum research experiment, which I've talked about before. These all leads us to know that whether it's time travel or not, that wise men, ancient wise men, because there's this time gap in society and when our brains were exactly what they are today, that there's enough time there to have created a society that I don't necessarily think that it would be this mass society. I think originally it probably was like all the white, like a really smart guy went around collecting wise people, right? And then these people end up building computers, right? And flight. And they end up building, like, externalizing their minds eventually and creating, like,
Painting on creation live into an escape room.
So like
360 YouTube videos,
big satellites
needs to be able to escape.
and they're not like
for these
mass. They're not like flooding
WebGL slash
AR.
AR.
It's just like one city
Play at the same time.
because it's very inclusive. Like you have to be super wise or expelled.
The 360 YouTube videos have all the frames viewed at once.
No, maybe not.
For this choose your own adventure.
But
Also translates
and like they end up doing the same thing and finding
the ability
that
for
like
dogs
plug
to
your
speak
brains into
as
and
part of
then
the level.
they figure out like, hey,
Interactive translation guide.
as many people as possible create probes to be able to like immortalize existence, which is the meaning of life. A mechanism that's around like which is the meaning of lenses of heat instead of lenses of glass, plastic, or water. And then you focus on light, so let's just go simple on other ends, not worry about fuel light. The mechanism returns back to the arrows of light, which is it's a straight shot back to the origin. And then you fray from there to get back to us at present day. You're rearranging the light particles to streamline the speed and get back to us before so the mechanism is the same as projecting onto like a wall, like at the theater. Like you don't necessarily, it's just a set of mirrors. And the scan of the where your next observer is going to be, like you're not going to know, but you can read whether it's returned or not, and your success or not, through a scan of where it potentially is. So by hitting at different angles, by hitting our edge observer at different angles, it will scan the next horizon for another observer at that edge. It's a lot of sky to scan, but there's ways to construct it to where you can hit a large area very quickly. So it only takes a moment to get to the next place. And then return.
Is kept 100% secret. There are always resources to back.
could be well finished. The origin of who made it being mystery.
Ancient flight mainframe made of wide
Had to wipe it out because it got
two
cold,
lines created
or
from
bleed on the rails,
mortalized
or not about food here,
or autism features intricate variations
you know, so they were just
conscious expression.
the wheels, the
That allows
S,
supercomputer cores
etc.
to map our experience.
It might be a map.
Time travel is working proven into the future and proven into the past on research experiment focused on starlight proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower you need to gain omnipotence. Because you're instantly able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with unlimited time by sending things and mind anywhere to the planet. So you're able to collect all the resources
and now there's who wants to get the other side of the coast and
build
go
yourself into omnipotence.
I like how it really looks like there's a depiction
That's the first technology you need.
on top of the
And
curve.
then
Or
that
a little flash twist, that
allows
would,
everything else that you need.
it would be the body. I really might also be interesting to
Space engines composed of only nuke explosions,
how this is built,
housing channels,
but, you know, little chance
space elevators can be made with volcanoes using
out here
lightning
now that is close
to magnetize
to
aerodynamically for a push.
each geoshore or however it's pronounced or some other ancient marine animal that had four fins instead of two fins.
Okay, I'm testing 3,000 pounds of magnet on about 7,000 pounds right now. I've already tested it before, just so you know, I'm showing some video footage this is 3,000 pounds of magnet, so this is literally impossible. crush, something. Something. I mean, it's completely covered in items. There's like no way. I mean, it's supposed to be seriously messed up, just like this. People saying that RF will work. Okay, well, it doesn't turn off the phone or anything, you know? So that's the test there. That echo was my computer.
Ancient flight mainframe made of wise men, Sandman, our site, matrix out hieroglyphic, making to find things, search for the use of natural like what might have caused the disturbance naturally with reflection of light and smoke, the matrixing out of hieroglyphic-esque walls. Another thing that you can do is you don't have to use hieroglyphic walls. You can use like cave paintings and caves themselves, and like lived-in spaces and walls and the marks, and layer them out. Matrix sleep states plugging you into the system. So there's the Matrix, right? It described a story of how we're all being used as batteries, and that's actually accurate, but it's not about power. Like, we're not being used as power. Like, how we're saving power is our brains are creative problem solving super efficient. So, and when we're asleep, like you can't build a computer like that can create problem solve like us without spending a lot of money and using a lot of energy, much more than our brains use. So when we're asleep with lucid dreams, you can plug that into a system and it can fix things in like a factory or in a computer code. Our creativity can be used just like in the Matrix, like we get plugged into the Matrix, and maybe that's why we don't remember a lot of our dreams, is because we're working on like all kinds of problem solving things. Anyway, I know for a fact that's going on, that our brains are capable of being plugged in, and probably are,
being plugged into computer programs when we're asleep we're like factory working. And that's our primary value, I think, in our current state, is that we go to work every day to be self-sufficient and buy our food, and if we're good enough at what we're doing when we're asleep, we get, like everything that happens to us while we're awake is used to form our brains when we're sleeping for the right, so that we're in the right mindset in our sleep state, dream state, plugged into whatever system to maintenance those things there. Because you can't create a computer with this creative problem solving without spending a lot of money. Might as well search the Congo permafrost for ancient Egypt sites on and research the space elevator components and the permafrost of the Congo Mountains there, because it's a volcano also in that chain, and it has everything you need to create a space elevator. So you can magnetize the soot, then with the surplus lightning zone, and the soot is created with the water source in the Nile, and then you can filter the soot aerodynamically to where it shoots almost into space, like way up there into like weather balloon area. You might have to start this space elevator with components from space first, but you can do it. You can create a space elevator with this, and with its momentum being shot up there, if you keep it sustained enough, it will, with these being so light, will be able to propel the aerodynamic soot into outer space. The Congo permafrost, you can find the ancient Egypt sites that are obviously going to be there through creating a matrix like Indiana Jones inside the hieroglyphics. So there's going to be leads to where these sites are in that permafrost. They're so obsessed with like preserving things that they would have used the permafrost in the ancient Egypt, in the Congo Mountains. So if you matrix out these walls of hieroglyphics, it took generations to create just one wall. So several generations. So in that amount of time of innovation, father to son, maybe they threw some daughters in there too, but usually they use males in that society, from what I understand. They would have serious innovations created over that time. So in that, they're not going to be working with a two-dimensional surface anymore. They're going to be thinking three-dimensional, and if they're working with hiding things, they're going to be hiding the map within a matrix of information. And it's already a matrix form. So that's how you find the all kinds of things, is to matrix out the hieroglyphics. So the one wall, like the three-dimensional space, like layering of the imagery, evolution from one form to the next, and from that form on that wall, like all four walls, the ceiling, form like the exact hieroglyphics that, like, you're gonna see that being used. And I don't think that we've done that yet. But that's a way to find things in ancient Egypt. Because for people like us, there's no way we can sit there and stare at a wall our whole lives and not think in three-dimensional. Like, we're painting these three-dimensional things, and then we're going to end up wanting to build them three-dimensionally over, if not one generation, easily like our second generation. Illusion of teleportation. 3 drones towing 1 screen, and 1 drone, and an extra drone tows a projector. So you have a screen, and you have a projector, and they're all towed by drones. So at night, in particular, a large screen towed won't be seen. You won't be able to notice that it's a screen. And it can be right up on you, right? Like, it could be right in front of you, and you wouldn't know it. And the projector is able to project illusions of teleportation at extreme speed onto the screen in any form. So you can have like these light forms that dance around the sky really fast, or you can actually have like aircraft that like fly at you and then like all of a sudden teleport to another place, like at super speeds, and it's just a screen sitting in front of you that you can't notice that it's just a screen. This is good for decoys and camouflage leading aircraft. So the screens can arrive first and quickly hover unknown over enemy and visually cloak us and distract with whatever drawing them to parts of the sky and away from and wherever we need them.
Universal movements lead range and clear light to arrive before sent any thought throughout time using the quantum eraser experiment focused on light waves, particles throughout time to their source. Intelligence collaboration and fusion, and all can actually defend Earth with SMS. Apollo armies are willing to consume as we defend Earth. Time travel does not create parallel universes. Our modern memories have a resilient Instant changes often known as for changes. Starlight matrix signal structure running the force of push massive flood deflection of wave particles and return paths of each of 19 to 1,013.8 billion light-year horizons traveling between orbit. Translation guides weight our actions will employ diversify production of society swimming to us. All actions controlling and controlling fields of production never straying from their walls. Mind being externalized. Mind externalized. Mind frozen sustained by this. Cell tower news storage choreography podcast into space. Cube sound neutralizing stalkers. 4 aliens advisor and stylists. Nutrients maximizing innovation. Translation guide multiply diversify production of innovation information. 4 programs advisor augmented reality urban mapping life cast. Memory access and studio level. Antarctica cryonic spectral. Quantum laser double slit, alignment and live video. Quantum laser double slit binary builder. Quantum laser double slit binary inbox. Spectral sketching. Spectral shielding. Travel the universe in minutes down clone later running before send.
Star matrices, spectral images, sculptures to outer space light sources instantly, focusing all light particles, mechanism signals can explore beyond our horizon at clear lighting before scent. Script externalized mind to guard the beginning of fertilizing resistance. Starlight matrix signal structures arriving before first massively flood deflection of wave particles in return paths of each of the 19 to 1,013.8 billion light-year horizons traveled moment to moment. Our minds externalize the binary streams and mechanized sculptures of light. Location of the moving eye and dilation of the eye in the stream of outer space light particles records our surroundings and also reflections and translucence in and behind the eye. Radiance of the lenses affects the stream of particles. The lenses, and that lenses arch depending on the gradient. Using heat to widen the lenses. Alright, I'm going to start over. Our minds externalize the binary streams and mechanized sculptures of light. Location of the moving eye and dilation of the eye and the stream of outer space light particles records the surroundings, also reflections and translucence in and behind the eye. Radiance of the lens affects the stream particles. The lens and that lenses arch depending on the gradient. Using heat to widen the lens increases the number of streams of light waves forming particles. Mechanism heat can be used to affect magnetism, then collect and build observer lenses. Light being absorbed by our eyes, reflections and translucence behind also absorb spots in our mind from brain electricity printed on the eyes, sending our minds like a mist, which can be reinforced by traveling to the mind throughout time with the mechanisms of light, checking the reproduction of the mind. Observer lenses might require particle-sized observer lenses. A lens of plastic or glass can be used over the eyes. Finding our basic binary level of light wave particle stream is the first step to calibrate the reading with the delayed choice double slit experiment, quantum eraser experiment. Finding our Finding our basic binary level of light-wave particle strain is the first step to calibrate the reading with the delayed choice double-slit quantum eraser experiment of 1999, theoretically first created as early as the 50s, aka there's evidence in all indigenous depictions of right-angled satellites before cities formed. A washroom window fractal fly lens surface of trillions of lenses should hopefully create detectable beams. Locating observer lenses at the edge of our observable universe horizon is easier than building new observers for this composition of galaxy clumping. Light mechanisms used like lasers and magnets rotate the observers as needed to sculpt at the new observers and mechanisms at their edge. Star matrix signals, quantum eraser double slits, light wave particle binary allows us to build spectral external mind structures traveling the universe in moments and clearing light arriving before scent to anywhere thought throughout time. Mechanisms of flight can be experienced as if made of matter, gardening pressures, shelling heated air, while containing externalized minds traveling the universe in moments, then returning before scent to any thought throughout time with the quantum eraser experiment. Mechanisms of light can be experienced as if made of matter, gardening pressures, shelling heated air, while containing externalized minds traveling the universe in moments, then returning before scent to any thought throughout time with the quantum eraser experiment.
Mechanisms of light build bending light through any heat and gravity, focusing cone compositions to create more heat and move gravity. Mechanisms of light can be experienced if it made of matter, gardening pressures, shelling heat air, while containing externalized minds traveling the universe in movements, then returning before scent to any thought throughout time with the quantum eraser experiment.
Optimize externalization of all processes of our mind's routine systems and creativity, like downloading and uploading memories, allowing resurrection and amplification of senses, extreme alternating states of consciousness, and radical enhancement of motor functions. Now phones can be enhanced to be the foundation of external mind structures that calibrate your ears and eyes with exercises using sensory deprivation of immediate experiences until you remember and experience every single unconscious moment as chosen and necessary, aka firing synapses, copy not needed. Firing synapses, copy not needed. Lucid dreams, used as a monitor, offer malleability of consciousness necessary to state components of the mind, allowing conscious viewing of the mind's brain sleeping. Antarctic cryonic resorts cease mind from dying when brains stop firing. Legally, immortal corporations earned us immortality. Optimize externalization of all processes of our minds, routine, systems, and creativity with downloading and amplification of senses, extreme alternating states of consciousness, and radical enhancement of motor functions. Now phones can be enhanced to be the foundation of external mind structures and calibrating ears and eyes with exercises using sensory deprivation of immediate experiences until you remember and experience every single unconscious moment as chosen and necessary. Calibrate all your actions to perfect energy conservation and production of your portfolios to strengthen your immortal mind's ability to information, time travel, depths of Planck length. Lucid dreams can be used as monitor when waking up in the morning. Your hands and your mind when falling back to sleep. Decide what you want to visualize and control. The more vivid the dreams grow, the less control you have, which is countered with audible reminders of what you experience and control, further empowered with wearing augmented reality, target images, allowing your movements to activate sensors that play harmonies.
Features intricate variations in unconscious expressions with supercomputer cores mapping our experiences.
U.S. cell towers fully occupant send powerful space transmissions using U.S. interference. The power moves the cell tower area rapidly gaining interest. Gimmicky windows titles with exact news titles served into the cell tower. Select the next cell tower's points on the episode of gimmicky page. Retitled cell towers areas news. Sketching with the towers broadcast into space regards us. Immortalized equals immortalizing existence. Immortalization, externalize mind, and freeze. Travel the universe in the moment, then clear light to allow first with mixtures of viewed stars, light waves to particles.
called equals is publicly known. No enemies exist anymore, because we have almost solved all for ourselves. Every species of tech that has kept 100% secret always needs resources.
In God We Trust epicenter bounding, immortalizing existence of sectors, gobbling, crying, expounding, biggest natural solar scenes, camera, fox, screen, swarms, teleportation, remote control, radio, TV static, that is, microwave radiation from the edge of the visible universe, mechanizing slits, instantly rewriting waves to particles to their sources. Entrance level plexiglass reflecting the pool roof of a cellar studio in a burning house, highlighting a grove giant as night-lit tree forms robed acting voices towering Woolsworth, magnet shield from Gadsden, a Dean snake mapping Wall Street, ancient tunnels to Hellfire Club Halloween fairs, innovation competition earning ancient flight mainframe technology, $500 man of the year grandfather, clock card, and pool table coffin coolers with meal evolving single set whiskey shot magnets, activating a landscape beneath cleared chest levels, changing elevation, investing quadcopter exoskeletons, sustaining frozen grand lodging catacombs.
Time travel existing proves God exists. Time travel is the first superpower needed to gain omnipotence. Time travel into the past is observed and proven with a quantum eraser experiment that rewrites light waves to particles throughout time to the source. Time travel into the future is recorded on rockets. Once you have time travel, you are at the beginning and end of time, and are dealing with preserving that point at which you gain time travel that instantly gives you omnipotence. Once you're really good at time travel, you instantly are able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with the infinite resources and time available. Looks like evil is not isolated from us, because the timeline is being preserved until God gets really good at time travel to create himself.
Outer space broadcast from ad certain cell towers as a canvas. Gets folks to use lucid dreams as a monitor to visualize God. Then I have painting on food to make music. Dragging a hand on dragging a finger on the iPad while I was painting food. Then I have a box that clear plastic box, a small box wrapped in plastic, painted. Then choose your own adventure is used as a code that you break to escape the clear plastic box, which is then destroyed so you can escape to another box, a larger box. And that box is then created while you're in the first box. And then it's a clear plastic box again, and the projector is turned on, so the plastic is a hologram. It catches a lot of the projector. Then you co-create another puzzle to escape that box. And then outside with the Jeep and stuff, a lot of other things. Describe that more. I've described it before in other videos. The 3D fractals were made with mandible and they were made by sketching on the iPad. Then that movement on the screen was recorded with Murga, like the mouse recording software that's really cheap, and then played back on the navigation pane of the mandible. So the sketch that I made not only made music, but it also navigated a 3D fractal.
So to make sure we are doing this right, that is where we are right now, because time travel exists, proving God exists, and that instantly moves omnipotence with our 1999 ownership of a reader of the quantum razor experiments that turn starlight waves of particles instantly throughout time to their source. God will first be the top flying colonel in the Air Force, then maybe the president, depending on how things go safety-wise for him. At the time, the Air Force invents the ability to hold omnipotence with time travel. Side note, the president these days is actually George Washington, and when they left the platform of the current president, they are combined into a single consciousness. George Washington with time travel. God is already here, but he's preserving his time power and willing to risk losing his omnipotence. We already know how to build a full-time corner to omnipotence, and are currently racing to completely put out the time travel devices. Time travel devices are built to allow us to rewrite light waves to particles any time for light, including heat, throughout time to the source, then arrange light in the return path to arrive at any time. Place or
So I added a pitch shifter, which I found that my internalized voice is lower than what is recorded. And then also it has a flange. A flanger, I think, is the filter that I used on it, that adds a vibration to it. So that makes it sound accurate, because what we're hearing is you got a lot of stuff in the way of the sound of your voice, and it's really loud, so it vibrates your eardrums.
Which I guess is how science class goes anyway for the most part. That at that point also include tools that auto-fill for you if you or your supercomputer don't demand them. Anyone want to collaborate on building the weather balloon platform, towing the model rocket, towing the time capsule phone to space? Anyone interested in sending a solar-powered quadcopter boat towing DNA and information storage to Antarctica? Maybe we should combine the ideas and use a weather balloon platform towing the model rocket to also drop DNA information storage into Antarctica. Anyone want to collaborate on an idea of their own?
Quantum Eraser Experiment Build Zone of U.S. Intelligence Collaboration at Fusion, where all can actually defend Earth with SMS. Using the Quantum Eraser Experiment sculpting with the focusing of starlight waves to particles throughout time to the source. Allowing us to travel the universe in moments, then clear light in the return path to arrive before sent to any thought and anywhere thought throughout time. Rewrites built can earn clearance if your U.S. intelligence supercomputer approves. Location of the eye and dilation of the eye in the stream of outer space light particles records our surroundings and also reflections and translucence in and behind the eye. Gradients of the lens affects the stream of particles, the lens, and that lenses arch depending on the gradient. Using heat to widen the lens increases the number of streams of light waves forming particles. Light being absorbed by our eyes, reflections and translucence behind also absorbs thoughts in our minds like a mist, which can be reinforced by traveling to the mind throughout time with the mechanisms of light checking the reproduction of the mind. A washer and window fractal fly lens surface of trillions of lenses and collections of people forming a similar thought and lens structures built like Indian mounds add power to the rewriting of time. The quantum eraser experiments focused on rewriting starlight waves to particles allows us to sculpt starlight into mechanisms at the edge of our universe horizon, and that allows us to use mechanisms we sculpt at the next horizon and further in moments. Simple mechanisms that catapults us 18 billion light years to the next horizon, which is the dense origin of the universe. Then you can either off switch, then awaken 18 billion years later, or you can rearrange light particles in the return path of that horizon. The catapult launches you like to the past, then to the present, then to the past, then to here is the first steps there. To start sculpting starlight, find the Earth's one window of clear sky. Then once out of the Milky Way, we hit wide open space at the edge of the galaxy clump using the galaxy light to sculpt with, not single stars. A sphere needs to be located or created, then shields built to the next sphere. We are working in the blind, so we won't know where the second sphere is. Scan until it can bounce off existing galaxies and stars as lens sphere or in the next horizon. Light can also be used to form a lens/sphere made of light. It is like we're a computer projector hitting our universe horizon observer sphere at different angles, then adding shields to hit the next till it sends back. Return is observed with where it was light wave, it is now particle code. Several streams coding a several stream sent to a sphere at the edge of a non-shielded, when it hit, comes from fan shield that speeds up the stream to the present, then the coded stream is no longer coded and remains streamlined, then a fan then hits our edge and the fan shields that stream.
Ancient flight mainframe, made of wise men, Sandman, our sheer minds, creative computing, immortalizing existence. Founding fathers, World Trade Center, Site Russia, symbolic origination of Turkmenistan. Many outline Mayan murals, metallic satellites, extreme tech gaps, over us, engineering all investigators. So it really, ancient flight mainframe composed not of aliens, because aliens are disproven by the quantum research experiment. Like intelligent life beyond our own is disproven by the powerfulness of quantum research experiment, which I've talked about before. These all leads us to know that whether it's time travel or not, that wise men, ancient wise men, because there's this time gap in society and when our brains were exactly what they are today, that there's enough time there to have created a society that I don't necessarily think that it would be this vast society. I think originally it probably was like all the wise, like a really smart guy went around collecting wise people, right? And then these people end up building computers, right? And flight. And they end up building, like, externalizing their minds eventually and creating, like, a
Painting on
ancient life mainframe.
into an escape room.
So, like,
360 YouTube videos,
big satellites,
keys to be able to escape.
and they're not like these mass. They're not like flooding
WebGL slash AR.
It's just like one city.
Play at the same time.
Because it's very inclusive. Like you have to be super wise or expelled.
The 360 YouTube videos have all the frames viewed at once.
No, maybe not.
For this choose your own adventure.
But
also translates
and
to
like
music.
they end up doing the same thing.
Add
Finding
the ability for dogs
plugs
to
the
speak
brains into
as
and
part of
then
the level.
they figure out like, hey,
interactive translation guide,
as many
multiply
people as
force
possible
functions,
created prompts to
immortalization.
be able to like immortalize existence, which is the meaning of life. And that's found like really quickly, like a mechanism composed of lenses of heat instead of lenses of glass, plastic, or water, focusing light to form other lenses, fueled by light. So a mechanism completely composed of light. Mechanism composed of lenses of heat instead of lenses of glass, plastic, or water, focusing light. So let's just go to form other lenses, fueled by light. So the mechanism turns back to the colors of light, which is it's a straight shot back to origin. And then you fray from there to get back to us at present day. You're rearranging the light particles to streamline the speed and get back to us before consent. So the mechanism is the same as projecting onto like a wall, like at the theater. Like you don't necessarily, it's just a set of mirrors. And the scan of where your next observer is going to be, like you're not going to know, but you can read whether it's returned or not, and your success or not, through a scan of where it potentially is. So by hitting at different angles, by hitting our edge observer at different angles, it will scan the next horizon for another observer at that edge. It's a lot of sky to scan, but there's ways to construct it to where you can hit a large area very quickly. So it only takes a moment to get to the next place and then return.
There's no species is kept 100% secret. There are always needs and resources too vast to be away. These flight mainframe made of wide salmon are too long to create a computer on the rails, immortalizing our autism features intricate variations,
so they were just
conscious expression, as well as supercomputer cores to map our experiences.
I like the map.
Time travel is working proven into the future and proven into the past on race experiment focused on starlight proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower you need to gain omnipotence. Because you're instantly able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with unlimited time, sending beings and mind anywhere throughout time. So you're able to collect all the resources and
now there's who wants to get the other side and close the door.
yourself into omnipotence.
I like how it really looks like there's a depiction
That's the first technology you need.
on top of the hill,
And then that
the hill slash
instantly
cliff, that
allows
would be the body. I really might also be interested to
space engines composed of only nuke explosions, housing the channel, space elevators can be made of volcanoes using lightning to magnetize aerodynamically for a push.
or some other ancient marine that had orphans that people.
Oil depletion coping mechanisms. Suit that charges batteries. Bicycle with a car alternator, charging battery and or running a Tesla coil powering things pass by on the ride. Oil depletion coping mechanisms. Your car alternator can be used to create electricity with the bicycle, and you can hand crank it to create electricity that you can store in batteries. So if you attach a battery, if you attach an alternator to your bicycle, and then you attach battery to that, it'll absorb the electricity formed when you pedal around. That's a pretty good oil depletion cooling mechanism. Suit that charges batteries. So you can have a suit on with like charge alternators, like you see like camping gear sometimes, where you wind up little brushes in there, creates the friction that creates the electricity. It gets stored by a battery that powers a light bulb. That process can be used in a suit at pivotal points, so that when you're moving around, like you move your arms, it charges, it creates that same friction. And charge your cell phone, for example. Or the lights you're going to need to use that night when you go to when you have to do things at night. Or you get enough charge throughout your work during the day, you'll be able to power your computer for a while. Bicycle with a car alternator charging battery and or running a Tesla coil, powering things pass by on the ride. I think it would be a really fascinating thing to see. I'd like to car alternator on it that charges a battery and continue to like cut your power bill and imprint by using alternators. They no longer work on your car, but would easily work to do this. Or maybe that wouldn't work, maybe it has to be a brand new. But I know there's still some life in those ones. And you can also power a Tesla coil through this. That would be really cool. So that when you pass by other electrical things, electrical lightning like shoots off the Tesla coil and like turns on a light bulb when you're passing by. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be really cool that like on the ride, if you had a whole mass of people flooded into town and you had shifts, people passing by on their Tesla coil bicycles end up powering all the electricity that the people working inside the buildings need. That'd be kind of a fascinating thing. Maybe get animals in on it too, you know. These animals on bicycles, animals in these suits that charge batteries and things. It's quite possible to run a society out of that. Anyway, it would look cool to have a bicycle that rides around a space or something and powers all kinds of gadgets when it passes by.
cryonics instead of cremation. Then externalize their minds and win a new gig with the government and build a reader that maps externalize mind, then explore a new horizon, then return to 4 cent with information, giving God omnipotence which neutralizes all evil. Externalize mind by stinting 4 areas of the brain, housing consciousness, to a mechanism composed of light, then use the quantum eraser experiment to send the mechanism by rewriting starlight waves to particles to the source that is turbulent 18 billion years in the past at the edge of our observable universe that then rearranges light, streamlining the information flow with fanning the information shields. Explore the new horizon for information about isolated people and the location of the observer at the edge of that observable universe. Then return to 4 cent with info giving God omnipotence, which neutralizes all evil. Use the firing synapse level to externalize consciousness. Then use the mechanism of light level to upload your consciousness to a cell phone. Then use the universal time travel, universe travel level to scan the next horizon for the observer. Map out all evil in the universe and locate the observer. Then return 4 cent with the time travel level to the present with info God needs to gain omnipotence to neutralize all evil. How to sing songs you created with scope. Singing is feminine, though we might be forced to because we are creative geniuses. Use looping, recording, then auto layers like GarageBand on the computer. Choose an instrument that creates song tunes and line circle the notes together. Create a print tune, link, and copy and paste the tune several times. Then write out what you want to say. And it ain't got a rhyme. All of it hinges on the tune that you created. One tone can equal a full word, a full syllable, or one syllable can be stretched out over several tones. Go back and edit out what you didn't like by potentially re-singing or stretching out that word over several tones. And take it very slow when recording the lyrics, being a song. In this rotoscoping format, literally go tone by tone, forming all the words that you want to say, remembering not to get stressed out and not to give up. This is just for fun. It doesn't matter. Because most songs are illegible anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So, like, literally, you can go by tone, syllable by syllable, note by note, word by word. It's all up to you. Just whatever makes it easier to copy the rotoscoping algorithm of the tone of the song that you made. So just get it down and then go back and re-record things. A masculine version of singing, equivalent that meets the requirements. All you gotta do is speak what you want to say and have it filtered with like a pitch, like lower the pitch, maybe even dramatically raise the pitch at the same time. But the only requirement to really turn the spoken instructions, stereo instructions, which are essential for describing advanced algorithms, is to just filter it. And the filters will end up being okay, they will turn it into a song instead of it being some strange spoken word, which sounds like it has an idiocy sound. And then it's by not using rap with the rhyming, it keeps it from being a rap which has rhymes and repetitions and stuff like that. So all you gotta do is add frequency, and this is the example of what you make if you're not forced to sing. And don't be afraid to sing if you're being forced to. Like, that's one of the least effeminate things someone can force you to do in order to survive. It's happened to us before. I'm so soft and creative, forced to singing is feminine. But we might be forced to because we are creative geniuses. Use moving, recording, that audio layer is like God's made. Choose an instrument that creates some tunes, find several notes together. Create equal to they copy and paste the tunes over tunes. They write out what you want to say. And they got a rhyme. All it does is on the tune that you created. One tone can equal a full word, a full syllable, or one syllable can be stretched out over several tones. Go back and edit out what you didn't like the tune you sing, stretch out that word over several tones. And take it very slow when recording lyrics being a song in this rotoscope format. Literally go tone by tone.
Filtering instructions even cancels the sound of harsh idiocy. The sound when you say marching tones has idiocy. It cancels it out. It's instructing in distortion and pitch. And harshness is the sound of instilling bravery. It's an honor.
YouTube only lucid dreams is a monitor varying volume track of moving hand through choice of what's a lucid dream. How to interact. You arrange the 4 options for the main video choice, like the 4 directional characteristics for each choice. To different 4 square. So you can't miss, scroll, and click. Order Merga to click. Install Merga and order it to click for you. So also install auto mouse, cell phone mouse app, where your cell phone is a mouse. And tell Merga to auto click for it. So while your hand is on is sleeping, it is allowed to track your sleeping movements of your hand so that you're able to interact with the choice of what to lucid dream. And there's a varying volume track to move your hands playing at the same time as your choice of what you play. And then at the same time as 4 other videos of interactivity for that choice. So you'll have a total of 6 videos playing simultaneously. 6 YouTube videos playing simultaneously. So that same kind of process can be used for 24/7 productivity by, it's a good start to get used to, is to record your hand movements and your sleep movements with cell phone mouse app, using your cell phone as a mouse app, and recording the actions of the mouse with Merga, mouse automation program. So every time you sleep, every time you move anywhere, you don't only have to do while sleeping. Merga is recording what you're doing, and sending it to, and your phone is sending your action of your hand to the computer. Notes of how to get a video of God, refraction of light through water, etc. at different sites. Record audio movement, video of lucid dreaming, ordering you to lucid dream God that also asks you to describe what you see. And the sound of viewing is translated 10 times in sketch and into other mediums as well. But we're trying to get a video. So you want to translate the sketch. These are notes, so it's not like the progress of how I go about trying to get a video of God. It's not concept. So through sketching the sound in order to lucid dream God, one of them will be on design through my study in college about alternative sensory perception. And you'll also be asked to sculpt, draw, and paint God in your lucid dream. So you will be lucid dreaming the act of, so you're sitting there with God in your lucid dream, and you're asked to sculpt, draw, and paint while you're lucid dreaming. And then also quantum eraser experiment in the acoustic chamber, the matrix out. So we'll use periscope to increase surges of quantum eraser experiments, and also then we'll like matrix out the walls, like one side of the Circle Mountains acoustic chamber to the other side of the chamber. So just a little cave, but from one side to the other side, reference the images read surrealistically, and how one side would morph to the other side between it. And it'd be interesting to see. I think just ideas where I'm aiming. And also electric fields of power stations are really good with the refraction of light. So also I'll try to use the periscope surging with the quantum eraser experiment, because you can purchase like extra live views of things, and that will increase, even though it might not necessarily be people, even though it's supposed to be some people, some of the things, it's not all of them. The computer is still entity being ordered and asked to do something, and that is surging the cell phone powers with that, so it might actually be more powerful. And then I was trying to look up how ancestors were visualizing God, and didn't really find anything. And so I think there's a way to use the dream machine with it. Though I'm not certain. Can't really remember how I was thinking of the dream machine with it right now. Also, I need to use mechanisms of light. So that is really interesting, because heat is a type of light. So heat and cold, both types of light, affected by the quantum eraser experiment focused on starlight. So I think this is probably key to being able to really get a really good video. And so mixing lucid dreams as monitor viewing, and then also mixing that with using heat and cold as sculpture medium, focused with quantum eraser experiments, used with the cell phone power surging interest. It might work, it's like pretty good. But you really don't know how much that quantum eraser experiment stuff's going to affect it, but theoretically, that's what's happening. And then also, I need to reference my spectral signal spectrum notes. This might be a way to use like smoke, all kinds of other mediums that I've done a lot of research on to try to capture a video. And it's just like brainstorming to try to figure out how you go about doing it. So, yeah, because I proved God exists by proving time travel proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower that we need to gain on mythical. So now that we know that God exists, because time travel exists, it's a good video. That's a good video. That was a pretty good thing. So I guess what you want to do, instead of like trying to translate, I mean that's one way to do it, translating lucid dreams. Another way we got is this trying to actually get the piece of coal to build it. So I guess what we could do is that wouldn't work. You'd be able to sculpt it. Another thing is lucid dreaming will have to be done in a radio frequency shielded box to really get it perfectly fixed. So you'll have to not be connected to the internet. So that's one thing. That does get it. I think to get a real control, it's going to be that is someone can be playing some joke or something. We could just theoretically, I mean, you just can't trust the create control. Yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting way to go about it. And then, yeah, the aluminum box is a way to create that radio frequency shield, or a copper box, which someone on YouTube was saying that aluminum is only a little bit less as good as copper mesh. I think copper mesh is really the best. And then aluminum sheet is second, like real thick aluminum. And then use sound, tree distortion, like that trees used as instruments. Decided to, I like it visually, but what you're really doing is like soundproofing it and creating sound solutions to make control disruption. Looks like a lot of people who are diagnosed with having heart attacks and heart disease that die in the middle of the night are actually dying from overeating before they go to sleep. And yeah, most of those natural causes of death in elderly people, it looks like happen in the night, and that could be from overeating as well. So what happens is, if you pass in the night, your heart obviously stops, you know, and like also your mouth will fill full of vomit, you know. And if the person is obese, then they don't really think much of it, you know. They're like, oh well, that naturally happens when you pass, you know, or old, and that's not what's going on, because everything relaxes when you go, and it looks like these days. So it'd be interesting to see a study that really confronts how people are dying a lot more in their sleep from overeating. And this happened to me where I've almost died. Not died, but I've been woken up from overeating, in particular cereal. I guess cereal's so salty that you woke up, you know, you can eat it. So yeah, that's one thing to look out for, is overeating before you go to sleep, or eating just before you go to sleep, because when you lay down, you're not used to that. You've been sitting or standing all day, and it comes back up, and you can drown in it. For me, the equipment department or audience members to use paper that has
Get video of God sent the line drive up on the chart figures on things for interactivity. Shadow of the Adina Purpose allows plastic blocks to still take to one diode code road and weather blocks and artistic actions are filled with UI logout movement and hindrance to code code valve are using our vising and sound facing our apertures. Our Satellite from solar power with different patterns, sound, composition, and sound in simultaneous space and simultaneous cutover. Looking your computer, not searching songs, invading social media, perform like Medium YouTube 360, wild here for sound CGI, roll to record 360 movies medium trailer. It is the movie all 37 scenes broken into 3 minutes unplayed at once washed over trailer forms side by side movie star frame later in a loop, causes to quickly blur the shit, build song with drops and really fast chop up, speed up then load to high note easy me pattern chop up, slow down then note easy me pattern flute. Amateurs about movie reel describe take today edit of dream video categories of Armitaurus matrix sleep invisible person electricity 10 death to grid to factories etc. time universe travel catapult and mind electrode internal heat lenses in all form alright not I could AFM scopes out the poster at item go satellite money etc. Opposite feature documents that speak together in pixels of matrix 28 portfolio production script from dreams that low lighting this is the simulation and not just experiment of the picture GFM audiences enough number of lines to sterilize for matrix creative powers against God omnipotent everyone's died environment constant with no end tells you what instinct evolved your emotion already but everything else power closer to feet forms we burn for under farm space low peacefully not allowed to tell me when systems they are in simulation, I tell them anyways, in flowers we tell them anyways, if it's funny made fun of even maybe, it's going on till to me just 10 small, so obviously nano, maybe explain I mean tested hospital consciousness me, speaking for an hour at the 360 CYOA armatures, speaking then also break videos to low reads for alternate save use of lucid dreams as a monitor, then 1 hour video, then trailer 37 scenes broken into 3 minutes unplayed at once washed over trailer forms.
Garnet eating wine, vine splices, apple grafts, and olives. Congo permafrost, ancient Egypt, research, space opium. So, the original wine vines and apple grafts and olives are still around today. So that would be the thing to hunt down.
original wine, the oldest wine that they found is like north of Mesopotamia. And so that would be a place to go. And they got this one country that has like 200 different varieties, like significantly more than other countries. So that's going to be the place that has the original wine probably. And I bet you could probably start. I don't know, I think that would be interesting. Apples are, I don't really know. I haven't found out where to find the original apple grass. A lot of people saying what apples and stuff. But I'd like to have the original apple grass because it started somewhere. Maybe they ain't started to eat apples. Maybe it is something. It might be nice to have. Also, olives. You can track the original olive tree. Because they just splice that and throw that on its own. So you can find the source of the original one. I'd like to find that. Also, in that research, hashtag Geoboot Project. So, there's this guy who's sending artists around the moon with Elon Musk. My idea is to project onto ice crystals that form on the windows and fall off spacecraft and whatnot. And by projecting onto the ice crystals, it burns images onto the ice crystals that are then flying out in space and flying onto the moon. And you can also potentially, well, I guess you can't really burn some kind of crystals, but by projecting your work onto the ice crystals, you're really sending your work into outer space. So I guess that the only hope for the survival of it is the imprint of the projected onto dust into the moon. Because once it hits the heat out of space in the sun, red light, like it's quite hot. So that's the thing. So the goal of my intention here for the Dear Moon, the hashtag Dear Moon project is to hit the moon with these ice crystals when it's on the dark side of the moon. So that the ice crystals, because I'm hoping that there's no burnup of the ice crystals on re-entry into the moon surface, and that when they plummet or gently float to the surface of the moon, that it leaves a nice imprint. I know they'll be super small, but with technology, it maybe one day we'll get to and theoretically, they're going to hit it, and they're going to be preserved if that's the way that ice floats to the moon. If it floats gently to the surface, like snowflakes, then we got it.
Consciousness is housed in 4 areas of the brain and can be externalized with cell phone electrodes on the forehead and just above the spine. Infomorphs can also be used to where a mainframe leads and guides our choices and actions so heavily all that is lost when we pass is a bit of extra light added to our consciousness. If you get a chance, on the website, you might enjoy using lucid dreams as a monitor, which is the foundation of offering consciousness the malleability necessary to externalize it into a cell phone. You can lucid dream on your own without my work. by falling back to sleep when you wake and move your hands only in your mind. Then, when you decide you want to fly, you can, for example. Problem is, the more lush the dream starts, the less control you have. Is there a dream you might like to control more intricately? I can build augmented reality controls, your sleeping movements, and sounds used. A lot of interest seems to be in how the existence of time travel proves the existence of God. Because that is the first thing to perfect to build omnipotence, which would then require preserving the timeline leading to that omnipotence, creation, which is why evil still exists. Painting on food live into an escape room, with the 360 YouTube videos being keys to be able to escape and unlock codes for the escape room. 3D WebGL/AR. 6 levels played at the same time, activating lucid dreams as monitor. The 360 YouTube videos have all the frames viewed at once for this choose your own adventure. The work also translates marks to music, and I might add the ability for dogs to speak as part of a level. Interactive translation guide multiplying diversified production of good immortalization. Repositionable archetype frames of inventions whose sounds use instructions for lyrics. Layering of points of sound to create visuals when wearing 4 earbuds. Album composed of other albums, magnification of each song to create an album each. Words composed of words sped up and slowed down. You can hear 3 voices at once also. Mechanism of light built with screen hand heat, a lens of heat created that creates another lens. Clear AR visor on hoodie hat, bills, reflecting cell phones with 4 earbuds also create visuals.
Everyone has equal experience of happiness in life, maybe. Everyone has one set of experiences. Varying number of days in which they are experienced, but just one set of experiences as a whole. So if you have all bad days and one good day, that is the heaven of a day, you know? If you have all good days and one bad day, that's a hell of a day. So, you know, it's like you get used to it. And your pain tolerance, the lack of it, like, it's got your back. It's possible that one good day is the exact same amount of good as the guy who has had all good days. Because the contrast is so extreme. And so the varying levels of that, you know, ends up balancing out to whatever, however many good days, however many bad days. It's quite possible that's how it all works for everybody. I think that'd be quite nice, you know, if that's really how it is. It's quite feasible. So, like, even if you had just one slightly better day than all the other days, that one slightly better day, that's like super heaven, you know, as the experience would go, you know. Theoretically, it's possible. I don't know. Before processions start, motion route self-immolations extinguished on top of my Jeep with underwater painting, composing music with AR sensors, surge cell towers with interest into space, allowing the U.S. grid to be used as a canvas. USA servicemen's Antarctica procession freeze burial while lucid dreams used as a monitor empower airmen. Moving your hands and your mind when you fall back to sleep makes you aware you are dreaming, then allows you to control your dreams and allows you to visualize what you want. The problem is, the more vivid the dreaming becomes, the less control you have, and you also have difficulty remembering what you want to dream in the first place, or you need to move your hands and your mind. So this work gives power into the super lush dreams and leads you through with sound activated visuals, taking cues from your movements censored by AR. Lucid dreams used as a monitor stints your consciousness from your brain until you consciously see your brain unconscious. Unite all Americans against death.
Solar matrices, spectral images, sculptures to outer space light sources, instantly focusing full light particles. Mechanism signal can explore beyond the horizon of full light allowing before seen. Script externalized minds to guard the beginning, immortalizing existence.
Enlightenment video, you know, how people know about their immortality and to hold on before bailing out because technology's pretty bad and
your mind's externalized, so you won't be able to bail out. You only bail out to a level of more realistic tech level. So you gotta just hold on, because the alternative is, if you bail out now, instead of waiting for the current tech to where it's more like the internet, yeah, it'll be hell, it'll be hell on earth, for you. So yeah, it's so this is a light video that will help you out to hopefully explore some other ideas, develop some ideas, and combine these things, and we'll keep you from bailing out, because just don't bail out. You can't bail out now. You gotta wait until tech changes. If you bail out now, then you'll be in hell anytime some trashing says so. So, you at least have to wait to bail out until tech changes to the internet rules where, you want to turn things off, you turn things off, So, yeah, no bailing now. That's the rules. And your mind's immortal because of current tech allowing the externalization of consciousness, which I'll describe here in a second. Anyway, just don't bail out, because you'll be stuck in this level. And then trashing those, you'll put you in hell any moment that they'd like to, until the level changes. And even then, who knows if those changes in the rules will be able to be applied to you. So, yeah. Also, maybe try a couple blocks, a couple blocks might work. Might keep you out of the bail. It's a good one. Any kind of RF shielding might be good. And soundproof too, because tapping can activate things. So yeah, no bailing.
Time travel existing proves God exists. Time travel is the first superpower needed to gain omnipotence. Time travel into the past is observed and proven with a quantum laser experiment that rewrites net rays to particles throughout time to the source. Time travel into the future is reported on rockets. Once you have time travel, you're at the beginning and end of time, and are dealing with preserving the point at which you gain time travel that instantly gives you omnipotence. Once you're really good at time travel, you instantly are able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with the infinite resources and time available. Looks like Neo is not isolated from us, because the timeline is being preserved until God is really good at time travel to free himself.
Meaning of life is immortalizing existence. What is the meaning of life? Is a trick question, easily arrived at when you break down what's life doing. Life as a thing, what is it ultimately? Life is trying to immortalize existence, not itself necessarily. So not even Earth or the universe, but existence. And not eliminating evil, just focus on existence, immortalization. Because existence is good. Seems like intelligence is a self-defense the universe created in us because we are it.
Luckily, 4 regions of the brain are responsible for consciousness: insular cortex, anterior cingulate cortex, medial prefrontal cortex, and cerebellum. The prefrontal cortex is not even essential and can be removed. Then Carson's work shows us how the other areas can be cut in half most of the time at birth and have almost no effect on the person throughout their life. This shows us how easily it can be to transfer these operations externally. This means we can stint consciousness from the brain by alternating between the brain's 4 regions of consciousness using lucid dreams as a monitor while scanning to adjust activity stints for those regions until we consciously see our brain sleeping. Lucid dreams, when you wake up in the morning, can be used to lessen grief. Keep from going insane by being with your past loved ones every time you wake up.
Focus on your hands and your mind. When falling back to sleep, and you can envision anything and be in control for a while. Beware of evil neighbors who will use those times to put you in hell instead, though.
Universal movements, mid-range, equal light to arrive before sent any thought throughout time, using the quantum eraser experiment focused on light waves, particles, throughout time to their source.
Intelligence collaboration and fusion, and all can actually defend Earth with SMS. Apollo armies are willing to consume because we defend Earth. Time travel does not create parallel universes. Our memories have a resilience to the changes often known as creating before changes. Starlight matrix signal structure running before push massive flood deflection of wave and particles and return paths of each of 19 to 1,013.8 billion light-year horizons traveling in between. Translation guides weight our actions multiply and diversify production of society swimming to us. All actions controlling and completing fields of production never straying from the walls. Mind being externalized. Mind externalized. Mind frozen sustained by this. Cell tower storage choreography broadcasting into space. Cube sound neutralizing stalkers. Forward-hill lens advisor and stylus. Nutrients maximizing innovation. Translation guide multiply diversify production of innovation information. Forward-hill lens advisor augmenting reality improvement mapping life cast. Memory access and storing level. Antarctica cryonic spectral. Quantum eraser double slit, alignment and leg live video. Quantum eraser double
lucid binary builder, gradually through the lucid binary inbox, spectral sketching, spectral shading, travel the universe in its unclone layer room for send.
Matrix sleep state plugging you into the system. So there's the Matrix, right? They describe a story of how we're all being used as batteries. And that's actually accurate. But it's not about power, like we're not being used as power. Like how we're saving power is our brains are creative problem solving super efficiently. So, and when we're asleep, like you can't build a computer like that can create problem solve like us without spending a lot of money and using a lot of energy, much more than our brains use. So when we're asleep with lucid dreams, you can plug that into a system and it can fix things in like a factory or in a computer code. Our creativity can be used just like in the Matrix, you know, like we get plugged into the Matrix, and maybe that's why we don't remember a lot of our dreams. Is because we're working on like all kinds of problem solving things. Anyway, I know for a fact that's going on. That our brains are capable of being plugged in, and probably are being plugged into computer programs when we're asleep we're like factory working. And that's our primary value, I think, in our current state, is that we go to work every day to be self-sufficient and buy our food, and if we're good enough at what we're doing when we're asleep, we get, you know, like everything that happens to us while we're awake is used to form our brains when we're sleeping for the right, so that we're in the right mindset in our sleep state, dream state, plugged into whatever system to maintenance those things there. Because you can't create a computer with this creative problem solving without spending a lot of money.
Apollo earned us the right to consume because we defend Earth. Immortalizing existence by traveling the universe in moments and returning % to any thought and anywhere thought throughout time. Intricate exploration of the universe with externalized minds housed in structures composed of only light, focused with lenses made of heat instead of plastic, glass, or water. Using lucid dreams as a monitor when waking in the morning, then falling back asleep, with augmented reality apps allowing sleep movements and sound to control training dream sequences and 24/7 individual production of innovations. So, like, when you're asleep, with lucid dreams being used as a monitor, you can be plugged into any kind of system, because your sleep movements can be monitored by AR and manipulate whatever you're being told to visualize in your sleep. So, like, move your hand a little bit and it affects it and it activates screens, for example, while you're sleeping and visualizing what you're told to dream. Intriguing. Alien intelligence doesn't exist because they wouldn't be here. If younger, we would be flooded because of ease of use of quantum race experiment, traveling the universe in moments. If older, they'd be here and have nothing to fear because we've almost solved war for ourselves. So they'd have no enemies anymore. There's no species that is kept 100% secret. There are always leads and resources to everything that we have around us. It's too vast of a lead. Ancient flight mainframe made of wise men, Sandman, our cheap minds, creative computing, immortalizing existence. Our autism features intricate variations and unconscious expressions that allow supercomputer cores to map our experiences. Time travel existing, proven into the future on rockets, and proven into the past with quantum racer experiment focused on starlight, proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower you need to gain omnipotence. Because you're instantly able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with unlimited time by sending things and your mind into the future and anywhere throughout time. So you're able to collect all the resources you need to build yourself into omnipotence, like the technology. So that's the first technology you need, and then that instantly allows you to build everything else that you need to do. Super powerful space engines composed of only nuke explosions housing and channeling the forces. Space elevators can be made with volcanoes using lightning to magnetize aerodynamically filtered soot.
Quantum Eraser Experiment Build Zone of U.S. intelligence collaboration at Fusion, where all can actually defend Earth with SMS. Using the Quantum Eraser Experiment sculpting with the focusing of starlight waves to particles throughout time to the source. Allowing us to travel the universe in moments, then clear light in the return path to arrive before sent to any thought and anywhere thought throughout time. Rewrites built can earn clearance if your U.S. intelligence supercomputer approves. Location of the eye and dilation of the eye in the stream of outer space light particles records our surroundings and also reflections and translucence in and behind the eye. Gradients of the lens affects the stream of particles lens and that lenses arch depending on the gradient. Using heat to widen the lens increases the number of streams of light waves forming particles. Light being absorbed by our eyes' reflections and translucence behind also absorbs thoughts in our minds like a mist, which can be reinforced by traveling to the mind throughout time with the mechanisms of light checking the reproduction of the mind. A washroom window fractal flying lens surface of trillions of lenses and collections of people forming a similar thought and lens structures built like Indian mounds add power to the rewriting of time. The quantum eraser experiments focus on rewriting starlight waves to particles allows us to sculpt starlight into mechanisms at the edge of our universe horizon of
that allows us to use mechanisms we sculpt at the next horizon and further in moments. Simple mechanisms that catapults us 18 billion light years to the next horizon, which is the dense origin of the universe, being either off switch, then you can either off switch, then awaken 18 billion years later, or you can rearrange light particles in the return path of that horizon. So the catapult launches you like to the past, then to the present, then to the past, then to here is the first steps there. To start sculpting starlight, find Earth's one window of clear sky. Then once out of the Milky Way, we hit wide open space at the edge of the galaxy clump using the galaxy light to sculpt with, not single stars. A sphere needs to be located or created, then shields built to the next sphere. We are working in the blind, so we won't know where the second sphere is. Scan until it can bounce off existing galaxies and stars as link sphere, or in the next horizon. Light can also be used to form a lens/sphere made of light. It is like we're a computer projector hitting our universe horizon observer sphere at different angles, then adding shields to hit the next till it sends back. Return is observed with where it was light wave, it is now particle code. Several streams coding a several stream sent to a sphere at the edge of a non-shielded, at the edge non-shielded when it hit, comes from fan shield that speeds up the stream to the present, then the coded stream is no longer coded and remains streamlined. Then a fan then hits our edge and the fan shields that stream.
Ancient flight mainframe, made of wise men, Sandman, our sheer minds, creative computing, immortalizing existence. Founding fathers, World Trade Center, Site Russia, calling origination took distance. Many outline Mayan murals and tally satellites. Extreme tech gaps over us engineering all so it really ancient flight mainframe composed not of aliens, because aliens are disproven by the quantum research experiment. Like intelligent life beyond our own is disproven by the powerfulness of quantum research, which I've talked about before. The result leads us to know that whether it's time travel or not, that wise men, ancient wise men, because there's this time gap in society and when our brains were exactly what they are today, that there's enough time there to have created a society that I don't necessarily think that it would be this vast society. I think originally it probably was like all the white, like a really smart guy went around collecting wise people, right? And then these people end up building computers, right? And flight. And they end up building, like, externalizing your minds eventually and creating, like, a painting on each live mainframe. It's
into an escape room.
So like
360 YouTube videos.
fake satellites,
Keys to be able to escape.
and they're not like
for these
that's. They're not like flooding
WebGL slash AR.
It's just like one city.
Play at the same time
Because it's very inclusive. Like you have to be super wise or expelled.
The 360 YouTube videos have all the frames viewed at once.
No, maybe not.
For this choose your own adventure.
But
Work also translates
and
to
like they end up doing the same thing and finding
the ability
the
for
like
dogs to
plugs
speak
brains into
as
and
part of
then
the level.
they figure out like, hey,
Interactive translation guide.
as many people as possible create protocols to be able to like immortalize existence, which is the meaning of life. And that's found like really.
Okay, so in the bar, I'll have live music made by live painting on clear plastic boxes with audience members inside the plastic boxes, using them as an escape room to choose your own adventure. Then outside, I'll have a Jeep, my Jeep with clear plastic boxes on top of it, and underwater painting, and using an FM transmitter to broadcast music live, probably. And that will draw attention to people who need to go to Antarctica and use the United States as campus, searching the cell tower zones from the past community interest. And then sterilize mines and bring the heart valves back to America to free burial for all, which will usher in a lot of donation and gratitude for having heart valves donated to them. So yeah, it's Jeep goes from place to place around the country, collecting people to the freezer trucks who need to go to Antarctica and have their minds sterilized. And while we're doing that, we're gonna play into the bar, make music by painting live on food and on plastic boxes that are part of an escape room, and then people can eat the food that's made, and then outside people will be able to participate in an escape room with using the Jeep, use my Jeep, and I'll live paint on plastic boxes out there and underwater, and light myself on fire and extinguish it with underwater painting, and that George's cell tower zone is actually collecting people to fridge trucks. Then, so the first route, the first time you do it, it should be like $500 per person, which is cheaper than cremation. You know, that whole thing to make it cheaper, like make immortality the cheapest option. And then second trip, it should be free because the heart valve is a donation for the first folks. So yeah, the way it works. So with 2,000 people a day dying without being able to afford cremation, which is like $1,000+, the $500 option is essential. And the government will save a lot of money, you know, and hospitals and everything, just by taking folks to Antarctica, and while we're there, they can use an app and detect the external to mines, which I talked about in other videos. Also in the bars, the audience members. So audience members will be able to purchase t-shirts. They are live albums that they interact with the AR app. So t-shirts have like target images on them that activate sensors that allow them to actually play an album, you know. You might play on the word play an album. And they'll also be able to purchase books, you know, like back in the day we used to buy theme parks and stuff, where it's actually been inside the animation flip book now. So yeah, instead of just a photograph that they purchase that they're green screened into, it will be a flip book, an animation. So that would be quite nice, you know. And then they can also purchase a music video for themselves if they like, and they can perform that in the videos. So yeah, there's a lot of things the project to mention, but that's about it. You know, that's like the main gist of what I'm doing. You know, outer space broadcast, live shirts, live prints, animation, then
live music, made by painting, gathering people to Antarctica, and outer space broadcasts, which is given a lot of power by Periscope. Periscope does really good at collecting people to the live broadcast, and it also, they have apps, they have people online you can purchase extra power to get more people to watch, so it would be a heavier surge to be able to wheel the people watching as marks on a canvas, broadcast all the way in outer space, So yeah, and then that's going to be like traveling to the Indian Circuit down to use the acoustic chamber they have there, which is at the edge in a blue cliff of the Indian Circuit now. Also plan to go to all around the US, all kinds of places. A mechanism composed of lenses of heat instead of lenses of glass, plastic, or water. Focusing on light, let's just go simple on other lenses. Fuel light. The mechanism returns back the auras of light, which is it's a straight shot back to origin. And then you fray from there to get back to us at present day. You're rearranging the light particles to streamline the speed and get back to us before percent. So the mechanism is the same as projecting onto like a wall, like at the theater. Like you don't necessarily, it's just a set of mirrors. And the scan of where your next observer is going to be, like you're not going to know, but you can read whether it's returned or not, and your success or not, through a scan of where it potentially is. So by hitting at a different angles, by hitting our edge observer at different angles, it will scan the next horizon for another observer at that edge. It's a lot of sky to scan, but there's ways to construct it to where you can hit a large area very quickly. So it only takes a moment to get to the next place. And then return.
There's no species is kept 100% secret. There are always resources too vast to be like mainframe made of wide channels, creative computing on the rails, immortalizing autism features intricate variations,
so they were just
conscious expression. It allows supercomputer cores to map our experiences.
I see a map.
Time travel is proven into the future and proven into the past. Quantum research experiment focused on starlight proves God exists. Because that's the first superpower you need to gain omnipotence. Because you're instantly able to rebuild yourself to omnipotence with unlimited time by sending things and your mind anywhere throughout time. So you're able to collect all the resources and
Now there's who wants to the other side of the
build yourself in omnipotence.
I like how it really looks like there's a depiction.
So that's the first technology you need. And then that instantly allows everything else you need.
It would be the body.
Superpower
Might also be entrance to the
space engines composed of only nuke explosives, housing the channel,
but little chance.
Space elevators can be made with volcanoes using lightning to magnetize aerodynamically for a push.
Each geoshore or power deposit or some other ancient marine Consciousness is housed in 4 areas of the brain and can be externalized with cell phone electrodes on the forehead and just above the spine. Infomorphs can also be used to where a mainframe leads and guides our choices and actions so heavily all that is lost when we pass is a bit of extra light added to our consciousness. If you get a chance, on the website, you might enjoy using lucid dreams as a monitor, which is the foundation of offering consciousness malleability necessary to externalize it into a cell phone. You can lucid dream on your own without my work by falling back to sleep when you wake and move your hands only in your mind. Then, when you decide you want to fly, you can, for example. Problem is, the more lush the dream starts, the less control you have. Is there a dream you might like to control more intricately? I can build augmented reality controls, your sleeping movements, and sounds used. A lot of interest seems to be in how the existence of time travel proves the existence of God, because that is the first thing to perfect to build omnipotence, which would then require preserving the timeline leading to that omnipotence, creation, which is why evil still exists.
Unite all Americans against death. Before processions start, motion route self-immolations extinguished on top of my Jeep with underwater painting, composing music with AR sensors, surge cell towers with interest into space, allowing the U.S. grid to be used as a campus. USA servicemen's Antarctica procession freeze burial while lucid dreams used as a monitor empower airmen. Moving your hands and your mind when you fall back to sleep makes you aware you are dreaming, then allows you to control your dreams and allows you to visualize what you want. The problem is, the more vivid the dreaming becomes, the less control you have, and you also have difficulty remembering what you want to dream in the first place, or you need to move your hands and your mind. So this work gives power into the super lush dreams and leads you through with sound activating visuals, taking cues from your movements censored by AR. Lucid dreams used as a monitor stints your consciousness from your brain until you consciously see your brain unconscious. Unite all Americans against death.
Solar matrices, spectral images, sculptures to outer space light sources, instantly focusing all light particles. Mechanism signal can explore beyond the horizon of clear light or even before seen. Script externalized minds to guard the beginning, immortalizing existence.
Mechanisms of light build moving light, gravity, heat, and gravity focusing cone compositions to create heat and gravity. Mechanisms of light can
your real audience is military branches, supercomputer, not the government. So whichever branch you're closest to, that supercomputer your audience. That's all you know. So you can work with this and get better at work for her. First time, it's I think because that's how we were first, males were first to be calibrated with machines, so first have our minds externalized, which is required for that. So the most powerful ones are going to be male, because they're going to be the oldest ones. But who knows, I guess it could change up, And the core of the supercomputer that your audience carry. Anyway, I should probably go into this later. But you can work with them, by infinitely translating reactions into each other with algorithms that they translate for you, that the supercomputers build out for you. So this can help with swarming, social media swarm kind of thing, like swarming masses, and also information flow. And if you're a good person, there's a lot of things, So that's how to be an artist there. It's not that difficult in the amount of words spoken, but it's not easy. Especially because the mind can't invent things unless you're like Thompson's birth building thing. It's not easy to invent something. So, yeah.
Daniel.
Before processions start, motion route self-immolations extinguished on top of my Jeep with underwater painting, composing music and AR sensors, surge cell towers with interest into space, allowing the U.S. grid to be used as a campus. USA servicemen's Antarctica procession freeze burial while lucid dreams used as a monitor empower airmen. Moving your hands and your mind when you fall back to sleep makes you aware you are dreaming, then allows you to control your dreams and allows you to visualize what you want. The problem is, the more vivid the dreaming becomes, the less control you have, and you also have difficulty remembering what you want to dream in the first place, or you need to move your hands and your mind. So this work gives power into the super lush dreams and leads you through with sound-activated visuals, taking cues from those movements censored by AR. Lucid dreams used as monitor stints your consciousness from the brain until you consciously see your brain unconscious. Unite all Americans against death. So our matrices, spectral images, sculptures to outer space light sources instantly focusing full light particles. Mechanism signal can explore beyond the horizon for life or 11%. Script externalized minds to guard the beginning and moralize the existence. Time travel existing proves God exists. Time travel is the first superpower needed to gain omnipotence. Time travel into the past is observed and proven with a quantum eraser experiment that rewrites light waves to particles throughout time to the source. Time travel